Welcome back to the show, folks. This is your daily dose of pop culture and movie news all in one place, hosted by me, Mr. H Reviews. This is, of course, the wrap-up. On today's show, what we're going to be talking about is Amazon's Dark Tower has seemingly cast Michael Rooker. We don't know in what role yet, but we're going to get into the meat of that. We also have some surprising news, and it's really just in passing, but Paul Feig is still holding out hope for a sequel to Answer the Call, the Fembusters movie that came out in 2016. And then we'll get into the main topic today, which is Denis Villeneuve will be piloting, or doing a pilot episode for a DUNE TV series. Yes, so not only is he directing the DUNE movie, but he is also going to be directing a now greenlit DUNE TV series focused on something in particular, which we'll get to in a second. And then we'll have some time for some viewer questions. If you want to skip right ahead to any of the topics that I've listed, please do check down below in the description box for timestamps, and then also in a pinned comment. Straight from the top, if you like what I'm doing here, please do consider becoming a Patreon to the channel. You can find links to that down below in the description box, along with my social medias. And basically, you just get a whole host of benefits and Patreon exclusives, including Patreon-only roundtables via Skype. So if you want to interact with me on a more personal basis, rather than just this show, and support the show, please do check it out. Anyway, let's get into it. Amazon's Dark Tower series. Now, this is long in the works. Long in the works. And interestingly enough, there were some leaked photos that came out surrounding this. They appeared over on, what was it, Dread Central, and they received a cease and desist letter from Amazon. So Amazon is really trying to keep this as tightly under wraps as possible. When these, you can probably find them online still, in fairness. So if you do want to go and check out for those images, then just go give it a search. But Michael Rooker, people will remember him from his Yondu role. I'm Mary Poppins, bitch. He's cast in the Dark Tower. Now, there's not really any major kind of reveals here. The interesting things to note is, of course, he's a favourite for Guardians of the Galaxy. James Gunn has used him widely in his projects. And then also, he's a favourite for the Walking Dead producer and writer, I believe it is. Now, Amazon obviously acquired the rights to do this as a TV series, even though there's movies happening and things like that. But with respect to this one, very in particular, it comes to us from Michael Rooker Online. It's a fan website for Michael Rooker, if you can believe it. That's a thing. I like him as an actor, but I just think these fan websites are a little bit out there. The actor will once again team up with the former Walking Dead writer and producer. So he's a favourite for the Walking Dead writers and producers, it would seem. Now, the website reveals that Rooker is already filming the pilot episode on location in Croatia. Now, interestingly enough, I thought this was greenlit for an entire season. The fact that they're just doing a pilot episode for an Amazon streaming service is very strange. It's Amazon. They already have your money. They have a subscription service. So I do find pilot episodes, I guess, for these things to be a little bit bizarre. It's not really... We don't get pilot episodes for Netflix, do we? So that's where my confusion comes in. But hey, look, he is filming the pilot episode. It would appear that there's no really reveals as to what he is in the upcoming show. Hopefully, he's going to be a recurring character. But if they've got him on board just for the pilot episode, that's not bad. At least it will get some kind of brand recognition, some people interested in the show simply because of him. And yeah, I mean, we'll just have to see, because of course we don't even know if the show is going to be picked up beyond the pilot. So I am very confused by the fact that this is a pilot series, but I just need to look into it a little bit more. It is what it is. The fact that this is happening is good news, especially for Stephen King fans, and also fans of The Dark Tower, because this genuinely has a very big fan base. In theory, I actually think Michael Rooker could play a very large role, because the main character, the gunslinger, is modelled after Clint Eastwood, supposedly, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I also think Michael Rooker could do that very, very well. So, whether this is good or bad news remains to be seen, but I think he's a good actor, and I like seeing him in more things. But I hand it on over to you. What do you think about this? Let me know down below in the comments section. So, let's move on. Paul Feig, however you say his bloody name, the director of Answer the Call. Ghostbusters 2016. I mean, this picture says it all, doesn't it? It really does. It says it all. This man has not done anything since Ghostbusters, as far as I'm aware. And it's really... This all screams of just utter desperation at this point in time. So, you know, Paul Feig still hopes for a sequel to Ghostbusters 2016. For years after the release of 1989's Ghostbusters 2, there was talk of turning the franchise into a trilogy. Yep, that's true. They even did, like, the animated TV series, which is widely considered to be a sequel as well. To fans, this seemed the logical next step, but the refusal of Bill Murray to join the original cast for the third film, as well as the death of Harold Ramis, R.I.P., ended all speculation, which is, again, completely fair enough. Still, when it comes to Hollywood, no project is ever really dead. Some 15 years after Ghostbusters, co-creator Dan Aykroyd revealed he'd written a script for a third film. Dan Aykroyd. Oh, very, very funny. Revealed he'd written for a third film. Fans were absolutely delighted to learn that a new Ghostbusters was on its way. So that was, of course, with respect to... Well, now, anyway, we've got a third one underway with the Ghostbusters 2020, which is helmed by Jason Reitman. But then, of course, we had this nonsense here, this 2016 movie, which is it was just a bad... Again, subjective opinion, I know, but it was just a bad movie all round. Directed by Paul Feig, was released in 2016, faring poorly at the box office and targeted online by a host of vicious misogynistic trolls for its use of an all-female cast. There was some of that, but then there was also just fans not being happy with the direction that they went. And it always makes me laugh when people scream and shout misogyny, because we don't have the same with respect to this now, especially with this film in particular. It was very focused on downtreading men. So where was all the cries for misandry? Because that was very clear in this film. And if you don't know what that word is, it's because no one uses it very often. But it's when women hate men. And that was what this film was about. So, because there were very clear lines in this film which indicated that. But we don't, again, the likes of Screen Rant won't be very centrist on their view of this. Were there misogynistic people online? Of course there were. But this film had tones of misandry. And undoubtedly riled people up that were misogynists. So what would you expect? It's like putting your hand in boiling water and not expecting to get burnt. It's retarded. So anyway, it obviously just was horrendous. This film was awful, received awful. Now, thanks to Bloody Disgusting, we now know that while appearing at this year's Ghostbusters Fan Fest, there's been a few reveals out about this, especially for Jason Reitman's new film, just saying that they hope to make it a love letter to the originals, which is fine, it's just a PR spin. But Feig revealed that he's still holding out hope for a sequel, and that should it happen, he owes everything to the fans who stuck with him and made it happen. Check out Feig's comments in the Twitter video below. This is funny, so we'll watch it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for keeping the torch alive for Answer the Call. We're hoping there's a second call, and if we do get it, it's all because of you. We love you.
I doubt there's going to be a second film. I really, really doubt there's going to be a second film. Incredibly unlikely, and I hope that there isn't going to be one. I really hope. That would be bad. But anyway, I hand it on over to you. What do you think about everything I've said with respect to this topic? Let me know down below in the comments section. Did you like this film? Did you dislike it? And are you looking forward to the potential of another one? Or do you not? And do you know what misandry is? Let's shuffle on now. We've got DUNE The Sisterhood. Now this is the new TV series, which is in the works for Warner Bros. New streaming service, not DC streaming. And this is where a lot of people now think that Warner Bros. Is trying to fold in the DC streaming service with their Warner Bros. Streaming service, because who's going to pay for both, right? This is probably why they've cancelled the likes of Swamp Thing. But that's, again, a side video, I guess, to discuss the thoughts on all of that. Now, interestingly enough, and again, there will be people that jump out here and cry SJW and things like this. I know that. But I don't think that this is going to be that. I just feel like this is actually going to be just mining of the potential that this universe has. We're getting a movie anyway, so for those that are crying out SJW, and I guess falling under the banner of misogynist, whatever you want to say, we're getting a male-led movie, right? A feature movie, which is going to be incredibly expensive. So if people think this is unfair, it's really not. So it says, based on Frank Herbert's novel, the female-focused take will be directed by Denis Villeneuve and written by John Spates. Or Spates. I always say Spates. With respect to this, he's only doing the pilot episode. So this is kind of misinformation on the first bit there. But it says, Warner Media's forthcoming streaming service is poised to explore the world of Dune. The yet unnamed platform has handed out a straight-to-series order for DUNE The Sisterhood, a female-focused take on Frank Herbert's beloved novel. Denis Villeneuve, who wrote, produced, and directed next year's new take on Dune, will helm the pilot. John Spates will pen the script for the TV series, which hails from legendary television. Now, again, it does confirm here very specifically, so this is why I don't really see why this headline is here. It says Denis is only helming the pilot. Again, it's super important to note that. Production on the Dune feature, which hails from Legendary Entertainment and is being distributed by Warner Bros. Pictures. Legendary and Warner Bros. Have a very successful partnership going at the moment. What with the Godzilla stuff, I think they were even involved together in Detective Pikachu, if I remember rightly. This partnership is kind of a powerhouse and is very much required when you have the likes of Disney now owning such a large portion of the market. So it's good to see. It's really, really good to see. But anyway, it began filming in March and is obviously releasing next year. The film's cast includes Timothée Chalamet and as the lead character, Paul Atreides, Rebecca Ferguson, Dave Bautista, Stellan Skarsgård. So this is the movie, which I'm really looking forward to. It's set to release November. I think Denis is the man for the movie. Genuinely the man for the movie. For a TV series, I think he would bring just astounding cinematography, but it's then who you have on board afterwards, which will give this series legs and also consistency, because you really do want an air of continuity between seasons. So if someone with such a vision is helming the pilot, you need someone with an equal vision, or at least the same aesthetic, on board for the rest of the series, because otherwise it's going to look real bad. So Herbert's Dune novel examines a future in which humanity is spread across the galaxy to thousands of worlds, all ruled by the Padishah Emperor, the Imperium. DUNE The Sisterhood takes place in the same universe and explores the future through the eyes of a mysterious order of women, the Bene Gesserit. I've butchered that. Given abilities by their mastery of the body and the mind, the Bene Gesserit expertly weave through the feudal politics and intrigue of the Imperium, pursuing plans of their own that will ultimately lead them to the enigmatic planet Arrakis, known to its inhabitants as DUNE. So, Denis has released a statement on this, and he says, the Bene Gesserit have always been fascinating to me. Focusing a series around that powerful order of women seemed not only relevant and inspiring, but a dynamic setting for the television series. I agree. I don't think, and I often will call out needless agenda pushing, but I don't think this is agenda pushing. This is such a rich universe, and these are already long established in the universe of DUNE, that I think this is a good thing to explore. I am looking forward to this. I think this is good. Now, interestingly enough, it says that Warner Media's streaming service is due to launch in beta in late 2019. The platform will feature a roster of scripted originals as well as content from Warner Media's owned platforms, HBO. So anything to do with the new Game of Thrones and things like that will be on there, I'm sure. DUNE is the third series in the works for the SVOD service, joining Paul Feig's comedic, we just already spoke about him, comedic anthology Love Live, starring Anna Kendrick and Ansel Elgort. And also the Gremlins animated TV series is also in the works for that. Interesting. Okay, so look, I think this is good news. But I'll hand it on over to you. What do you think? Do you think this is good? Do you think this is bad? Do you think this is I don't want to get into the agenda pushing too much, but do you think there's some agenda here? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, because I think I genuinely think that this is a world that is rich to be mined, and I think it has untapped potential. Genuine untapped potential. So I'm looking forward to this. I think this will be great. And I think DUNE is the man to at least, providing Warner Bros. Continue the same aesthetic, DUNE is the man to establish the aesthetic. But it's also just dependent on the budget that's at hand and whether they hire someone, on board for showrunner that will actually hold a candle up to what DUNE has established with the pilot episode. But like I said, I hand it on over to you. What do you think? Let me know down below in the comment section. Now, we've got some time for some viewer questions. Now, if you want your viewer questions answered, please do just submit them to me over on the Gmails, mrhreviews@gmail.com, using the subject line, the wrap-up, and at the end of each of this daily show, we'll hopefully have time to answer some of your questions. So let's dip into the mailbag and see what we've got. So I know, now that I've got this enlarged, it looks grainy. Just as a quick heads up from the top, I am investing in a higher resolution camera. This camera is actually pretty good. It's just, we blow it up and it becomes pretty bad. So Hong Yao, butchered your name, man. I really apologise. Emailed in and wrote, "Hi, Mr. H. I've been a long-time fan of your style of videos and always look forward to a new content every day. Thanks so much. This might be lengthy, so I understand if you might not fit it into your fan mail section of your vids. I probably will. It's here. With regards to Godzilla King of the Monsters, do you feel that the movie lost some of its sense of scale compared to the 2014 Godzilla movie? Looking back, the 2014 film used camera angles that were realistic, as in using shots that could be done from a moving rig, helicopter, drone, skydiving cameraman, etc. Whilst in King of the Monsters, to accommodate the big kaiju fights, that they had to use unrealistic angles and digital camera shots. Some of the scenes, especially towards the end when Godzilla comes out of the ocean alongside his human allies, those were absolutely amazing, but the final battle between G-Man and Ghidorah reminded me of the battle scenes in Pacific Rim Uprising. Okay, a few things to unpack here. The sense of scale in 2014's Godzilla by Gareth Edwards was fantastic, but it also added to that, it added a lot of tension to the film because you could barely see what was going on, but then that also added a lot of frustration to audiences. Generally speaking, I don't think audiences know overly what they want because people liked those things as well as disliked them. I think ultimately there's definitely a change of scale. I still think, you pointed out some very key moments there when Godzilla is coming out of the water and walking side by side with his human allies, the ships and things like that. Those scenes retained that sense of scale to a very, very large degree, and I thought that was great. That being said, there definitely is, a key difference between the movies, but then I also think that was given to us in Kong Skull Island as well, and people often forget that is part of the MonsterVerse, and it changed the established tone, dramatically so. So I think realistically, King of the Monsters just continued from what Kong Skull Island had already veered off from 2014's Godzilla. So hopefully that answers your question, dude. But I hand on over to you guys. What do you think? Give me your answers to this down below in the comment section. Now, let's shuffle on. Okay, so we've got a question from Parker. Do you think we would get a super underrated comic book characters, Haunt and X? So I'm guessing this is question. I'm just going to read into your question here, Parker, my dude. You're talking about comic book movies here, right? I'm assuming. Obviously, these are Dark Horse comics. They are probably a bit too aesthetically similar to the likes of DC and Marvel characters. I really like Dark Horse comics. I think they have some fantastic characters. And I also think Top Cow have some fantastic characters. Like, people bang on about Valiant comics and all this other crap and things like that. That's fine. But I also think there's absolutely some untapped potential in the likes of Top Cow with the Darkness, the Witchblade, and also Dark Horse, like you've said here, X and Haunt. So I don't think we will, unless, say, Netflix or Hulu. Well, no, Hulu won't, because Hulu is owned by Disney now, but the likes of Netflix maybe. But then they're with Millarworld. So again, who knows? I don't think we will. I actually don't think we will. But that wraps it up here for me today, guys. I've got nothing else to ramble on about with these viewer questions. I've saved some more for tomorrow's episode. And like I said, if you want your viewer question answered on tomorrow's show, please do submit it over to me on Gmail at mistagereviews@gmail.com using the subject line, the wrap up. Really, really important. If you don't already, please do follow me over on Twitter and Instagram at mistagereviews, all one word. You can stay up to date on all of my daily nonsense over there. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Really, honestly, the show has just kind of gone from strength to strength. Just to address real quickly, a lot of people have said, especially yesterday, that this video has already been released but with a different title. What you're experiencing is the highlight videos, and I just need to address it. I did already address it on Saturday's episode. I recently spoke with YouTube about how people are being notified of the content on my channel. Now, you guys will know this. You don't get notifications, right? Yeah, that's how YouTube's doing it. They notify you algorithmically. So people are being notified very sporadically of my content. This is direct from YouTube. They told me this. They're being notified very sporadically of my content, regardless of what you've got clicked. And they then suggest my videos to you either in your subscription box or on the homepage. But again, they don't show you everything that I upload. So what I thought I would do, because again, when I started this show, this was to replace all of the very, very much smaller videos, but then also create a long form content for you guys to enjoy. It's just a better basis to do it, really. It's a bit more personality, a bit more interaction with you guys. But then a lot of people were saying, well, I like the smaller videos. So I thought what I would do is then chop up the long video into each section of relevant highlights. I don't do it with everything. Certainly don't do it with everything. But I will give relevant highlights, which I think individually people would have clicked on if they were smaller videos. So guys, I know that some people are being notified of all the videos, and I know it's a little bit confusing because you probably haven't watched all of the videos because you haven't been notified. So you didn't get my explanation on Saturday. I know, super dumb. But that's the way it is. That's the reason why I'm doing it, is because I'm not trying to overfill you with content. I'm actually just trying to get the content out to you. And that's because YouTube's algorithm sucks. It is what it is. I can't do anything about it. But you yourselves will know, you're testament to this. You can hold your hands up and say, yeah, I've been notified, or no, I haven't. And the likelihood is you haven't. So that's just a quick explanation. Sorry to ramble at the end of this video, but thank you so much for watching. Like I said, if you want to support the channel further, Patreon is down below, my social medias. But as always, I thank you so much for watching. I've been Mr. H. Take care.